All right, I need to get my dog to stop curling up in all my laundry baskets and sleeping on my clothes, even though it's super cute. I figured I'd build him a little bougie dog bed of his own so that he can stop sleeping on my clothes. And then I don't have to spend a bunch of money on lint rollers to get dog hair off of everything. So in this video, that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be making a dog bed. I'm gonna try and show you every step of the way how I'm making this one. There's a million different ways you can do it, but this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm not really even sure yet exactly how I'm gonna do it. We're just gonna kind of wing it. But if you make it through and stick around to the end, maybe you'll get to see my cute dog in his new bed. First up, we're gonna mill up some of this poplar to be the four sides of our bed. I did my best guesstimation of how big I think it'll need to be for my dog. And the bed itself is gonna be around 22 inches deep and 38 inches wide. And then the walls are gonna be around 5 inches tall. So that's where we're gonna start with milling all this up. Okay, so we've got our rough box shape made up now. And before we worry about joining the corners, I'm gonna go through and cut a few small pieces of wood to act as braces inside for the slats that will eventually hold the mattress. So let's go ahead and get those cut up. Okay, now before I actually attach these braces in here, I'm gonna go ahead and join up these corners. And I'm just gonna be doing what's called a butt joint, where you're basically just butting the one piece of wood up against the other piece of wood. And I'm gonna use pocket holes and some glue on that. I just wanna make sure that I keep my pocket holes down a little ways from the top so that when the mattress is in here, it'll cover up the holes left behind from the pocket holes. Okay, wardrobe change. Because yesterday I took a break to let these corners dry up, and then I had to watch the newest episode of Last of Us, and I just didn't get back out here to finish it. So continuity error on my part, but we're gonna finish it up today. So we're gonna get all of our braces screwed in here at the bottom, and we're gonna wanna make sure to pre-drill all of our holes because this wood is pretty small, and if we don't pre-drill our holes, it's gonna split the wood and they're gonna be useless basically. So let's go through and get these attached. All right, we got this all put together. Now we just need to cut some slats to lay across here that the mattress will sit on. Okay, you could totally stop right here and just paint it, stain it, do whatever you want, throw your mattress in and then it's done. You got a dog bed. I'm gonna actually go a little bit further and add some legs to it and maybe some decorative detail to it. We'll see once I get going. I don't really know. So bear with me. We're gonna cut up a few more pieces and try and spruce it up a little bit. Okay, so I got the pieces cut for my legs. I cut 8 total, but if you notice, I ripped down half of them a little bit smaller. And that's because these are also just gonna be butt jointed. And if you don't rip down one side a little bit thinner, then they're not gonna be even on both sides. So if they were both like this side's gonna be longer. So I basically just ripped off the thickness of the boards so that when these meet like that, it makes an even shape for the leg there on both sides. It's the same width. And I'll show you exactly how they're gonna attach to the bed at each corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and get each one of these glued up, and while we wait for the glue to dry, I'm gonna make some trim pieces that are gonna go in between all of the legs. Now before we attach the legs and all the trim pieces, I'm gonna go ahead and sand everything. I'm gonna start with some 80 grit to get rid of some of the saw marks and then work my way up to 120. And then we'll get everything else attached and maybe throw some stain on there to make it look good. We'll see. Okay, while the legs are gluing up, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the trim pieces that are gonna go in between the legs. First, I need to plane them down a little bit, just so that they're not so thick and bulky. And then we'll work on getting them cut to size and glue them on. So I've got all my little decorative trim pieces cut to size, but before I glue them on, I decided I want to add a little bit of a taper to the legs. I should have done that before I glued it up, but it was an afterthought. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just with a handsaw. I'm going to mark out my tapers and cut them off real quick before I glue on all the trim. Okay, now we wait for this glue to dry for a little bit, and then afterwards I'm gonna come back, clean it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna try and stain it. This is poplar, and poplar doesn't really take stain that well. It's really good wood for painting. Not so much stain, just because the stain doesn't absorb evenly all the time. But I figured why not make it harder on myself, I guess, and give it a shot. So we'll see how it turns out. If the stain doesn't look that good, maybe I'll sand it back and come back with some paint, but we'll see. Okay, we're gonna take this inside to stain it because it's a little chilly out here. And then while we're inside waiting for this to dry, we'll go ahead and make our mattress for it, and then she'll be done. Okay, so we've hijacked my mom's quilting area. Shh, don't tell her. And I've got some foam here that's actually from an old dog bed that was a lot bigger that got tore up. So I'm gonna cut this down to the size to fit the bed. And then I've got some fabric and a zipper here. We're gonna make basically a giant pillowcase that goes around the foam. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to sewing. So don't take this as like a how-to. Probably a how not to, if I'm being honest. Now, before we test it out with Bruno, if you enjoyed the video so far, I would greatly appreciate a like, a comment, subscribe, any of that stuff. And without further ado, we'll see if Bruno likes it.